Hi, my name is Brandy Haynes. I am a National Certified Intervener, and I would like to thank you guys for coming and joining me today. I want to talk to you guys about working with deafblind students and what an intervener is. I'm going to hand you out a guide of what we will be going through in the training. And you guys can follow along with the notes. A little bit about me. I have been an intervener for 3 years. I went to Utah State University and I got my intervener certification to be nationally certified to work with deafblind students. With this presentation, I want you guys to understand what it means to be deafblind, what an intervener actually is. When I tell people I'm an intervener, they're like, what is that? Or I work with deafblind students and they will say, how do you do that? Guys, to understand what those entail and how important an intervener is while working to a deafblind student. Deafblind it's a combination of hearing and vision losses. Sometimes you can have full vision in one eye and no vision in the other eye. Sometimes you can have no hearing at all, some hearing, cochlears. It's all so different that no student is the same. And so every student's learning is going to be different depending on the individual. Each individual is so unique in their own way. They miss out on so much. If they are not informed, it didn't happen. So let's say you're eating and you knock the plate and the drink spills over and nobody tells you. You never know that there was a mess there. So somebody would have to tell you, you knocked the water over, it has made a mess, we're going to clean it up now. They don't see it, they don't hear it. So until they feel it or have been informed, they don't know what's happened. I worked with a student. He had no idea how the mailman worked. He just knew that mail came in the mailbox. And we did a whole lesson on what a mailman is, how you get your mail. We went down to the post office. Just anything that's happening in the room, they will miss out on. An intervener will, what we see and hear, will bring it to their hands for them to touch and be part of the world. They want to know what's happening. They want to make friends too. They want to, be part of what's going on. The same student I was talking about, when I first started working with him, he had very minimal sign language vocabulary. And he was labeled behavior child, runner, and communication. There was a lack of communication. So we did a program, and we did a pre-program for the school students first. We were so excited that he was part of the program. We were able to get him a part. He was so proud of himself. He was excited. So we went on about the program, but it was to the students in the school. He had no idea. Like, he assumed that mom was going to be there, Meemaw was going to be there, and after the program ended, he thought his mom was there. He wanted someone to be proud of him. He wanted to show his accomplishments to his mom and his Meemaw. And he is throwing the biggest fit I've ever seen a kid throw. And the teachers are all standing up and looking at him. It's so bad we're calling mom. I'm trying to explain to him that you have to come back that night. That at nighttime, your mom will come. Well, the sign language was so minimal with him, he wasn't understanding the difference between daylight and night. This is the day, this is the night, and those are signs that we had to work on daily to build up his vocabulary, so then he could understand activities and time frames and sense of time and calendar. So later they come back that evening and he understands now that was night. I told him it was when it's dark outside that night you'll come back, and then he was able to understand there was 2 programs, but lack of communication, he was throwing this huge fit. How would you communicate if you didn't have words or hearing, or if you spoke different languages? Would you throw a fit, smile, laugh, scream, cry? I mean, when you get stuck in another country and you have no idea what's going on or how to even ask for the bathroom, how are you going to communicate that you need to go to the bathroom with someone that doesn't speak the same language as you? They want to be acknowledged. They want to be part of the world. They want to talk to you. They want to make their own decisions. They want to know what's going on. Let's say you're a deafblind individual. How do you believe that you would view the world? Okay, so I have some vision masks, and there are simulations, and it's going to simulate that you're somewhat blind. That one's got tunnel vision and one's got blurred out vision. And then I have some headphones to put in so you can have some music going, so that I'm going to have 2 participants be deaf and blind, and the other 2 participants, I'm going to go ahead and have you guys try to introduce yourself to your partner and tell them your favorite movie. And then we'll see what you guys think about that. So if you could put these on for me, please. Thank you. And then I'm going to let you stick these headphones in. I'm going to let you stick these headphones in. You could stick the headphones in before, but that's okay. That works. Great. Okay, you're good. It's good. Okay. And she's got hers on. Okay, go ahead and try to communicate with the other person. Try to tell them what your name is, what your favorite movie is, and what would you do to communicate with this individual that is deaf and blind? She might have some hearing. Just because it's deafblind doesn't mean it's completely deaf. There might be severe or no hearing or little bits of hearing.
My name.
Great. I like how you're using sign language and tactile signing.
I-D-N-E-Y.
Acting it out. That's great, actually. With people with low communication, you will act things out. You don't have to know sign language. If they don't know it, if they don't know sign language, they're not going to get it. So.
White.
That's awesome. Okay, so go ahead and take your headphones and blindfold off. Go ahead and, yes, thank you. Okay, so how did you guys do? Was it difficult? Yes, did you get anything from her? Nothing? So, do you know her name or movie? Favorite movie?
No.
Nothing? Okay, that's great. Did you get her favorite movie? Nothing? So she was signing, and you didn't know a sign language, of course, so he would have to be taught sign language to be able to communicate with him, which was exactly the student that I worked with. And I saw you were acting out signings. Did you get anything from the acting out? Nothing? Bunch of arms waving. Okay, that's great. Actually, you know, like I said, everybody is so different that you have to spend time with them, and if it's not a concrete, this is a pen, this is how you sign pen, it's so hard. How do you describe Tuesday? How do you describe tomorrow? So you have to work at being creative and how to make those things happen and to get them to understand. This was the simulation that Andy had. It was tunnel vision. This is what you would normally see with a normal vision, and then with the simulation she had tunnel vision, like putting your hand up over one eye, and about the size of a straw is what someone would see with that vision. This is the student that I work with, what his vision was like. Braxton had the retinal problems, and it's kind of blotched all around. That was what his, and this again is the normal picture that you would have seen. An intervener is someone who changes the world for a deafblind person. They work one-on-one with them. They help build that bridge between them and the world to help build concepts, make decisions for themselves, increase their learning, and help them become more independent and build trust. You not knowing Sydney, would you just want to go out in public with her, and would you completely trust her in the public setting? Right, because that's another thing that an intervener does, is you work with that person every day, all day, and when you do that, you build a trust with that person, with that intervener. The student that I worked with, so if you're introducing yourself, we made a sign book. And building books was a great way so you could keep reiterating different learnings. So we built a sign book. This was Miss Amy at the time, was his PT. And so you would come up with sign names. My sign name is Brandy, B with a smile for Brandy. So when I would say something or another teacher would come in, I could tell him, the student, Miss Brandy, I'm here, or this is Miss Amy. You'd have different sign names, and we would practice going over the people's and sign names. So then we would just sign Amy, and he had enough vision in this tunnel vision that if I sat on the right side, in the right eye, he could see me sign Miss Amy or Miss Brandy. But you can build different concept books just to build onto the learning. We went to the post office, we went to the fire department, and then you can keep, building on more lessons with that. What is an address? What is a city? What is a state? And you can build from that and incorporate more lessons when you've built this book and you've actually gone to the place or whatever it is that you're trying to incorporate in the lesson. They learn by touch. Some of them is very close sign language. So if you want to tell the student that they're going to go to recess, they need to know anticipation. What's going on in their day? You set up a calendar, you set up an agenda, you know what's going to happen to your day. You're going to get ready, you're going to go to work, you're going to take the kids to baseball. You know what your day's lined out. They want to know their day lined out too. So you can take pieces of the chain. Touch the chain, it's going to be time for recess. Touch a backpack, the strap for the backpack, it's time to go home. The spoon for lunch. You have different things set up in, like they call it a calendar box, and that way they can touch it, see it, and know what's going to happen throughout their day. You want to build them their own independence. How do you get a deafblind person to order for themselves at a restaurant? Do you know how difficult it is to find a menu that's in Braille? I've tried, it's hard. They don't want to be left out, and many times they just get stuck having nobody to communicate with. It's hard to find people that know sign language, and it's hard to find people that know how to interact with the deafblind individuals. People tell me many times, what an amazing job. Patience, you must have so much patience. You are changing this child's world. He's so lucky to have you. And honestly, he makes me think. He makes me get creative. He makes me think outside the box. Trying to come up with different situations or different lessons. How do you teach summer? I love it. Let's go. Let's get a challenge. It was difficult. You have to remember, summertime, then when fall comes around, we got to pick back up on that lesson because now our seasons change and we're going to go out somewhere to look at the leaves falling and the temperatures getting cooler, and sometimes your lessons are spread out over an entire year. It's kind of fun. He teaches you to slow down. And the little things you take for granted. And he has honestly just changed my life. I was lucky to be able to work with him. When you see a child that is on the ground, under a desk, throwing a fit, screaming and yelling, when you first meet him, and for the first couple months that you've taught him and worked with him and hung out with him, whew, it's a doozy. But after you get past those labels, after you figure out what an intervener is, after I started going to school to figure out how to work with a student, you build this bridge, and it's amazing. It's amazing to see what they can't experience for themselves, to bring it to their world and see how much they grow. Here is a list of different resources. OSU OKC is where I got my sign language degree. Utah State University is where I got my intervener certification. So does anybody have any questions?
Yes. How long does it take to get an intervener?
I went to Utah State University, and it's 3 semesters. You take one class each semester. So it's essentially a year and a summer to get it. And then once you turn in your portfolio, you are nationally credentially certified to work with deafblind students after that. Okay. Any other questions? You guys are good? Okay, I have a little survey for you. If you guys could just do me a favor, fill out the survey, and then there's a table right here at the where you leave, and then if you guys would just drop it off at that table for me, I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you guys for coming. I appreciate it.